Did you know that some people declined their Met Gala invitations this year because Jeff Bezos was an honorary chair? Bella Hadid said no thanks, Meryl Streep said no thanks. Apparently, Princess Kate Middleton declined, but not for activism. Allegedly, she didn't want to be compared to Princess Diana's 1996 appearance. Now, I should mention, it's alleged and not confirmed that Bella Hadid and Meryl Streep said no thank you because of Bezos, but it is interesting that so many declined this year. The Met Gala happens every year and is known as fashion's biggest event amongst us common folk. Some are excited to review the outfits and gossip around the event itself. Others, however, might find the event offensive because living costs are so high, home buying is next to impossible, and tickets for this one night affair start around $100,000. I need a rattler. Hi, I'm Tay, I'm a fashion designer and artist. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about the 2026 Met Gala. I am a bit late to the game on this one and won't be reviewing outfits that were paraded at the event, but I want to talk a second about what the Met Gala is and then do my own design segment for it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, and if you're returning, be sure to leave a comment and like the video. Since 1973, a theme is decided on and around 450 elite and famous guests are invited. And this event is invite only. The gala itself has been around since about 1948. Just the theme for dress code was introduced in the 70s. The annual event is for fundraising for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute in New York. This year, being 2026, they raised a record-placing $42 million. And you might be wondering, why the fuck would I care about them raising that much? Well, it's actually, apparently, not all a bad thing, and not something that just feeds the rich. The costume department is what's known as a curatorial department at the Met, which means that it has to fund itself. The donations from fundraising go towards paying stuff like curators and researchers, etc., and it also keeps it so that the Met can be free to visit if you're a student or if you live in New York. And maybe now you might be thinking, well, maybe I don't care about preserving historical garments or the costume department over there, and that's okay. But as a past fashion student myself, and as someone who thinks that fashion is a massively important part of our history, politics, and social issues, I would implore you to reconsider not caring. Now, the ticket cost is crazy. For most of us, that's a home. $100,000 would change our lives. Shit, $10,000 would change our lives. Typically, the celebrities aren't the ones footing the bill for the ticket, though, which is still invite only. But rather, it's large fashion houses that pay for that a lot of the time. More funds come in from mega donors like Bezos and all that lot, as well as corporate sponsors. And to note, some of the invitees do pay for their own tickets and tables as well. While every year I do rather enjoy seeing what the theme is and seeing how it's being interpreted by designers and stylists, and my fashion boner tingles looking at the pieces, there's always another part of me that's just grimacing. So you're telling me that while you lot stand there getting photographed in thousands upon thousands of dollars of ornate materials and hours of delicate and detailed work on these garments, while some people are getting their SNAP benefits cut, people are complaining that those that get food stamps shouldn't be able to get sweet treats, but they'll applaud you for wearing a nice outfit on the red carpet. It's infuriating. And as a fashion lover, while I do like seeing the outfits, I can't help but feel like this is so gross and weird to know that most people are choosing between groceries or gas to get to their second jobs, while the elites are more concerned with how best to keep their expensive outfits secret for 10 minutes of red carpet. But the Met Gala itself isn't inherently a bad thing. It's not just some party for nothing. Though, there are conspiracies out there, since we can't get inside and have a look around and see what you're up to. If they're being honest, and the funds really do go towards keeping the costume department alive and paying people that deserve to be paid, then that's great. But I also just can't shake that feeling that these days, it's all just so dystopian. And I know that's such an overly used word online, and I know a lot of people compare things like the Met Gala to the Hunger Games, so that's so overplayed. But it is true though, like that is what it feels like. My knee-jerk and immediate gut reaction and feeling at this event is just repulsed. However, If they're telling the truth, which who knows, everyone's out here just lying constantly. If they are telling the truth and the donations and fundraising goes towards what they say it goes towards, then it is undoubtedly a net positive for the fashion and art community. I'm not accusing them of lying, by the way. I'm sure that donations and stuff get verified for where it goes, and it's probably illegal to do anything other than what they say they're gonna do with the fund. But also, it's not like the higher ups are scared to break the law. Anyways, I'm ranting, and I will say I do enjoy looking at the outfits. It's a huge event. It's fashion's biggest event of the year. Of course I enjoyed looking at the outfits, but there is just this other side of me that's like, ugh. With my mini rant over, let's talk about this year's theme, costume art, and the dress code theme, fashion is art. The theme stuff gets me really excited because I love a wee design challenge that's outside of projects that I'm already working on. I do my own sometimes, like a fashion design blind pick challenge that I've done a few times on my TikTok. Since it's mentioned as well, you should definitely follow over there and check those out. This theme was interpreted by many to be art as fashion on the body. Think like renowned and famous paintings and sculptures, but as wearable art. For example, Beyonce, who hasn't attended the Met Gala in 10 years, by the way, apparently she wanted to step back or scale down on red carpet stuff to focus on family and her touring. Anyways, she came back this year and wore this piece collaboratively designed with Olivier Roustan. I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I did look it up, Roustan, and inspired by 1944 lithograph artwork by Caroline Duro called The Visitor. Quick mention as well, the diamond necklace there, I bet you can't guess the price. Guess the price. I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. That's correct. It's $50 million. I can't even say that with a straight face. Emma Chamberlain's look was heavily inspired by Van Gogh and Edvard Munch and took artist Anna Delarue 40 hours to hand paint. This is just absolutely incredible. The Kardashian-Jenner clan did a coordinated moment and all showed up similarly mirroring sculpture art. Sabrina Carpenter went in a different direction and did video art, wearing a custom Christian Dior gown made entirely from film strips from the movie Sabrina, starring Audrey Hepburn. Katy Perry's look apparently was intended to poke fun at AI after fans created AI images of her last year at the Met Gala, even though she wasn't there, but also it serves apparently as a representation of the, quote, observer's reflection and how their, quote, perception of others merge their own internal world. I, however, see a lot of similarities between Katy Perry's look and the mannequins that we see in the actual Costume Institute department itself with the reflective face. Not sure if there was meant to be maybe a reference to that there as well, or maybe just happy coincidence. Either way, I see it. Let me know if you see it too. Rihanna's look apparently took 1,300 hours to assemble and doesn't take inspiration from any one singular art piece, but rather an entire art movement. With over 100,000 found crystal beads, antique jewels, recycled computer wiring, the designer took inspiration from the Flemish primitives art movement and the medieval architecture of Flanders. There are so many looks that showed up to the Met Gala that are worth talking about in my opinion, but this video is more for designing, and since I'm a bit late, and if you're interested in Met Gala stuff and fashion stuff, you've likely already heard almost everything that can be said about these looks. So it's my turn. I'm going to design a look for this year's Met Gala 2026 based on the theme and dress code. You might know if you've watched other design videos from me that when I'm in design mode, my first step is typically ideation and mood boarding. Since we have a theme, this step will be really enjoyable and rather straightforward. And since the theme is art, I'm just going to look at some work by one of my favorite artists, BRIAN DESPAIN. BRIAN DESPAIN is an illustrator and artist based in the Pacific Northwest. He's into painting, video game creation, and all sorts. So over to his website, I'll collect some imagery, and for reference, you can find Brian's work at despainart.com, but I will also link his site in the description. Now, I've been a fan of BRIAN DESPAIN as an artist since I was about 17, I think. I can't remember exactly how I came across him, but I know it was for some project during an ideation phase for something, and I just instantly fell in love. Specifically with some of the robot sort of pieces that he's made, and if I remember correctly, there was a light bulb with wings somewhere that I literally will get tattooed one day, and I just can't find it here to show you. Anyways, his work is sort of pop surrealist, but I just enjoy the melancholy feel of it all. Something is sad, but it's also beautiful, and it looks like here with checking out his website for this video that his newer pieces have some blood, which is always a yes for me, and certainly now I'm getting ideas for what I would like to see in my Met Gala piece. I collect as many images as the vibe feels like, and normally when I do ideation, what I'll do is continue looking through Pinterest or sometimes online archives and just collect and collect before assembling my mood board. But since for this design I'm starting with an artist I know I'm already inspired by, I'm going to arrange the images I got from Brian's website here and check and see what we have for a through line and what I'm feeling from the arrangement. Then I'll head back to find some more imagery that suits the direction I'm feeling and getting here. With these images arranged here, I'm already seeing a through line and already seeing cohesion, but that's obvious because it's from the same artist. And while the whole point is me creating a look inspired by BRIAN DESPAIN, I do want to do some hunting for textures outside of just his artworks. What I'm going to do is a wee trick that I enjoy to sort of forge the creation of an idea to create an idea, if that makes sense. Looking at these images, I'm going to think of some keywords that pop to mind and use those as a jumping off point. Sort of like, you know, when you see those puzzles or whatever they are, and it's just a collection of letters and you have to look at it and say the first 4 words that come to mind, and like that tells you your personality type. It's like that. So upon just looking like quickly at these images, the first 4 words that come to mind are monarchy, serpent, victim, bones. For me anyways. Comment what your first 4 words were, if maybe you did that before I said mine. So that being said, let's head over to Pinterest. And as always, if I happen to get got by AI imagery, which is seldom but not impossible, call me out in the comments. I do try and intentionally stay away from it, so if one slips in, tell me as soon as possible. Also, if you're doing this, like for a serious project, whether that be for school or a client or something, it is best to have a document and save references and citations from where you're getting your imagery. If you do fashion or art school, they'll tell you this, and they will likely tell you to avoid Pinterest altogether for things like this because it sometimes can be impossible to find the original source of images on Pinterest. Using my 4 thought words, my 4 keywords, I'm just going to be grabbing images here like I always do for ideation phase, like I always do for this step. Things that feel like those 4 words, things that immediately grab my attention. I just screenshot them. I don't even check how many I have. I just keep going. Now to arrange. Throwing up all the new images I've collected based on our keywords here. It's just arrange, rearrange, resize, move around, which is just another word for arrange, until I'm feeling that things are where they need to go. I absolutely love this step. Like, the actual sketching and designing bit is of course my favorite as well, but the ideation step, when you begin to see this cohesion and things coming together and ideas popping into your head, I just love it. And there we have it. The final mood board for my Met Gala design inspired by BRIAN DESPAIN. Now it's time to sketch. Here I'll just do some preliminary sketches, getting down quickly ideas that have formed while making the mood board. And based on the mood board, I know I want to see the serpent represented, but with the bird influence from Despain, maybe some bird cage elements as well, some feathers. I definitely want to see blood here and there subtly. Some asymmetry in this piece I think would work well, and branches. Branches to represent the bird nest. Light bulbs, as we can see in Brian's work there as well. I'll insert some of my croquis here to get some silhouettes down onto before taking everything, along with my color palette that is also based on our mood board, and doing a more final rendering of the piece. And honestly, my bad, but instead of sticking to 1 piece, it is now going to be 4 pieces. So instead of a singular Met Gala look, I'll be doing somewhat of a capsule collection. And you know what, ladies, gents, and others? These are the final looks. Piece 1 is a corset back mini dress. Bodice is a very structured corset in a pearlish off-white glitter material with 3D white birds over the upper chest. For the skirt portion, a collection of twigs and sticks to look like a nest, probably made from foam and covered, but I'd have to experiment with the materials for this one. I also added some subtle lavender flowers on that bird nest portion as well, just to kind of mirror some of BRIAN DESPAIN's artworks that we took inspiration from. Piece 2 is this high neck emerald asymmetrical gown. The main material is going to be this sheer glitter emeraldy sort of chiffon. This would be fitted maybe with a little bit of stretch, and you can see some drapery throughout here. The neck piece is an emerald green, totally crystal serpent wrapped around the neck. And this is where I wanted to include that light bulb element. These would be lit up for the red carpet event. Piece 3 is going to be the birdcage inspired piece. A very structured lavender glitter bodysuit with really high point on that upper bodice neckline. Gold birdcage as the skirt portion and those same white 3D birds attached to it on the outside. I liked the idea of styling with a crown to tie in the monarchy keyword that we had mentioned during ideation. And piece 4 is an entirely white, feathered, asymmetrical, high slit gown. The peekaboo portion would be entirely floral, and the red that you see on the waist there would be completely encrusted in red crystals, just to incorporate that blood element that I really wanted to see throughout. Who could you see in these pieces? I didn't design any of these for any specific actor or singer or any specific person, but just kind of first glance, I could really see Drew Afualo in this green piece. I could really see Anya Taylor-Joy in the bird nest dress as well, I think. Let me know which one's your favorite. I think my favorite might be the emerald green one with the light bulbs, partially because light bulb elements just remind me so much of why Brian Despain became my favorite artist to begin with, way back when I first discovered him. I just really enjoy the fact that I was able to include the light bulb in this sort of mini capsule collection. I really enjoyed making this video. It would just be so amazing to actually see my work at the Met Gala one day, which is like such a massive, large dream goal, whatever. But I mainly enjoyed the fact that I got to revisit one of my favorite artists. And if you liked his work, I would encourage you to check out his website. Again, I'll link it in the description. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this video. I like to do these pretty frequently. This is a series that I often upload here. Leave a comment, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!